of Vivian Storenbend Potts. It doesn't feel like, all right, welcome to the explainer. You know, every once in a while, you pick up a book, and it doesn't feel like a story. It feels more like a dream you can't quite shake. That's exactly the world we're diving into today, the world of Vivian Storenbend Potts. Her work is just so different, so intimate, and we're going to figure out exactly what makes it tick.
Okay, just listen to this. I was once Roanoke. I was runes a shadow. I was once a whisper. Right from the jump, you know this isn't your typical novel. We're not talking about plot here. We're talking about a vibe, a feeling.
And really, that question gets to the very heart of what Vivian Storenbend Potts is doing. Her books don't just, bend the rules of storytelling. They throw the rule book out and create a whole new language from scratch.
So let's talk about that voice. In her novels Cornbread and Sunflower, the style is, well, it's like it breathes. It doesn't scream at you for attention. It's more like a whisper that you have to lean in to hear. And to really get it, we've got to go deep and see how it's all put together.
So where do we even begin? Let's start with the structure. And right away, you have to forget everything you know about a normal plot. Beginning, middle, end, that's gone. Instead, Potts builds her novels around something she calls memory's gravitational center. It's all based on the messy, weird way we actually remember things, not some neat, tidy story arc. A perfect example of this is her novel Sunflower. The story doesn't march forward from point A to point B. Nope. The whole thing just swirls. It orbits around this one single point, the events of one totally normal day.
And what's this big, important day? The first day of 5th grade. I mean, come on, most writers would make that a 2-page flashback, right? A little prologue before the real story starts. But not Potts. For her, that one little day is the whole story. It's like the tiny acorn that the entire massive oak tree of the novel grows out of.
And get this, the events of that day are so small. A bad hair part, a piece of cake that went missing, meeting a new friend, Celie, and this quiet kid, Mac. We're not talking about car chases or dramatic reveals here. These are the little, seemingly insignificant moments that you'd think you'd forget, but they end up shaping an entire life.
So what Potts is really getting at is that life isn't a timeline of big, flashy events. It's a collection of these quiet little moments of awareness. And when you think about it, that feels so much closer to how memory really works, doesn't it? It's a bit chaotic, but it feels true.
Okay, so that's the big picture, the structure. Now let's zoom in, way in, to the sentence level. Because if the whole book is built like a memory, then the words themselves, they sound like a mind in the very act of remembering. It's literally the sound of thinking.
So think about how different this is. Your typical narrator, they're confident. They stand back and tell you how it is. But Potts has this thing called the mother voice. And this narrator, well, she's figuring things out right alongside you. She lets you listen in as she discovers meaning in real time as the memories come back.
Just listen to the rhythm of this. You hear that? That little hesitation, that breath. That's not just a stylistic quirk. That's the sound of a thought being born. It's a memory getting pulled up from way down deep before it's all cleaned up and polished for an audience.
And here it is again. I notice everything. See? The narrator isn't some action hero driving the plot forward. She's a quiet observer, someone who is, as Potts writes, folding the world in. And what that does to us, as readers, is it forces us to slow down too. We have to pay attention right there with her. And let's be clear, this is all 100% intentional. Those pauses, those ums and ahs, they aren't just for decoration. They are the actual gears of a mind turning, made audible. You're not just reading a story. You're literally experiencing a consciousness in motion.
All right, so we've got the memory-based structure, we've got the sound of thinking prose, but what holds it all together? What's the soul of these books? It's the symbols. Potts anchors these really abstract ideas with these powerful personal metaphors she calls companions of the soul.
Now this might sound a little strange, but in Sunflower, the main symbol is something called the brother burp. Here's what that means. The narrator's twin brother died at birth, but his memory isn't told as some tragic backstory. Instead, it's this internal, physical rhythm, a pulse. It's a memory that lives in her body, not just in her head.
And this brother burp, it's more than just a symbol. In a way, it's a character in the book. It acts like a moral compass for her. So whenever she feels lost or upset or confused, This internal rhythm is what grounds her, what steadies her. It's like this silent companion that's always with her.
And this isn't a one-off idea. This theme of memory being stored in unusual places pops up again in her novel Cornbread. The big symbol there is the land as ledger. The idea is that the actual soil, the land itself, is a kind of living document of her family's history. It holds all the stories of their lives, their deaths, their hard work.
Okay, let's take a step back. We've got a structure built on memory, we've got prose that sounds like a person thinking out loud, and we've got these deep symbols that live inside the body and the land itself. So why? Why do all this? What's the point of this incredibly unique style?
Well, it all comes together to do something pretty incredible. You take that memory structure, you add the real-time, thinking out loud prose, and you anchor it all with those symbols. And what do? You get a way of seeing the metaphysics of ordinary life. Potts is basically showing us how to find the profound, the truly heavy, meaningful stuff hiding in plain sight in our everyday lives.
And that presents a completely different model for what it means to grow as a person. Think about it. Most stories we get are about big, dramatic events that change someone overnight. But Potts is suggesting something way quieter, and maybe more true. That real transformation happens through the slow, patient buildup of all the tiny moments we actually pay attention to. In her world, just noticing things is the path to wisdom.
And that, right there, is why her work feels so vital right now. We live in a world and a literary culture that is obsessed with spectacle, with the big, the loud, the flashy. So in that kind of environment, this choice to be quiet, to be focused, to just pay attention, that's not just a style, it's a radical act. So, in the end, Potts' work doesn't just tell us a story, it leaves us with a question for ourselves. It kind of challenges you. For a second, forget the big milestones, the stuff you put on a resume. What about the quiet moments, the little things you folded up and tucked away inside? What are the tiny, unnoticed memories that have actually, truly shaped who you are today? All right, welcome to the